This is the plaintiff, Michael Miller. He says he rented a house from the defendant, and when the house sold, he moved out in the required 30 days. The sneaky defendant refuses to return his security, claiming he broke his lease, which is ridiculous because the defendant sold the house. He's not going to just walk away from the $1,635 he's owed because that's a lot of money, and he's suing for it. This is the defendant, Kenny Harris. He says the plaintiff up and moved out of the house without submitting the written and required 30 days notice. Since he didn't follow the rules, the security isn't being returned, and he feels he has an ironclad case today. He's accused of holding on tight to a tenant's money.
All parties, please raise your right hand.
Welcome back to the People's Court. Next case on the docket. The plaintiff rented a house from the defendant, and when the defendant sold the house, the plaintiff got robbed of his security, he says, but the defendant says the plaintiff just up and left, so tough. It's the case of You Ain't My Homie.
Thank you, Douglas. Michael Miller and Brandy Miller, represented here by Michael Miller.
Yes, ma'am.
You are suing Kenny Harris and Lake Hamilton Realty Incorporated, represented here by Kenny Harris, for $1,635, comprising the security deposit you believe you're entitled to, plus unused rent, plus lost wages, and having to come and sue for your security deposit back. Tell me what's going on.
Well, originally we had moved to Hot Springs in July of 2017, and we had a lease. So since I'm a teacher and had some possibilities of going back into coaching, I needed to be able to get out of the lease in the summer months in July.
Okay, and so there's two clauses for termination of the lease. One of them is the tenant reserves the right to give 30-day notice to vacate the home before this lease is expired if we can rent the home immediately. No smoking in the home. And then the other way that someone can terminate the lease is for the sale of the property. And this clause says, in the event the property is sold during the period of this residential lease, the tenant hereby agrees to vacate within 30 days notice by the owner. All right, so what happens?
So in June, my wife contacted Heather about...
Your wife?
Yes.
Contacted Heather. Who's Heather? Your Heather.
I was the actual agent, and said that we had found another place. We're looking to get out, and...
Listen to me. I've read the text. It's way better for you than that. Hand me the text, please. Do you have it in the phone? I like to see text in a phone. What happens is she starts communicating with you.
Yes.
And she says, hey, how are you? This starts on June 20th. Would it be possible if we could get out of our lease if we found something a little bigger? Was just wondering. I know we have like 5 months left. You say, let me ask them. They say, we absolutely love the house. We just want a little bit more room. If not, we will stay until our lease is up. We're just curious. You say, okay. I think they're going to try to sell or rent it since you are wanting to find something bigger. Sounds like an okay for them to get out of their lease. I mean, it sounds to the layperson like that. We're supposed to go look at a house Monday. I hope they're not upset. Because your wife is so nice. And she said, they aren't. I'll come by around 1 Tuesday if that'll work for you. Yes, ma'am, that'll be fine. Thank you for understanding. You're welcome. You guys have been so nice to us. Thank you. I don't know why I keep reading it in a southern accent. Where are you guys from? Arkansas. That must be it. Thank you. I hope we find something. How long do we have to be out? And you answer, they haven't said. You can stay for the remainder of your lease if you choose to do so. Just let me know. When you find something, we will work out the time frame with you. Look, if what you meant to say then was you may lose your deposit, it depends on how fast we can rent it or something, that would be a really good time to say that rather than making it sound like you're giving them permission. Now, you ended up selling the house, right?
Yes, another agent.
Okay, so the house gets sold, and I take it the owner was happy about that because they wanted to sell the house.
Yes.
All right, and the closing date on that house is when?
It was August 18th, I think.
August 18th?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, but you're wanting to keep his deposit for August rent when you couldn't even give him August to live in for those 2 weeks?
There was nothing said that he had to move because the people were purchasing the home.
The new owner wanted to rent her.
No, I understand that, okay? According to you, you think your lease gives you a right to do what?
Once they notified me of the sale, I had 30 days to move out according to the lease.
Okay. You guys feel that he's not entitled to it back because what? What did he fail to do according to you?
He did not give written notice terminating the lease.
So according to you, he can't call his 30-day because he didn't do it in writing. I know written notice is written notice to your address.
Right.
But now, what about these texts that I've read out loud? Oh, you've all been said, thank you so much. Yes, that'll be fine, and all that stuff. Because it's not like they said, hey, we're leaving. And you go, okay. I never call that acquiescence. Okay is an alternative to shooting someone in the head. Like, what are you supposed to do to show your objection to them leaving? I get that. But this is different. This is permission to leave from her. What do we do with that? Why are you looking at her? She's just a nice...
So if the landlord kind of says informally, hey, of course you're going to move out early, does that cancel out the lease saying that you have to give 30 days notice?
If the lease required written notice,
He says it.
then the lease is the lease. And
Is the lease the lease, or does what the landlord says control?
The lease is the lease, and the landlord can change his mind. It's only your word against his.
Well, if he agrees, he said it. That's the question. Going inside the courtroom.
You end up finding a place and letting them know that you found a place when?
Around June 26th.
Yes, we just got approved on the house they called you about. We really like that one too. You can advertise it today if you want. But I just had a call from the realtor that showed the other day, and she's sending me an offer. We may be able to work out a deal with someone to buy it. Oh, okay. It's a nice house. I knew it wouldn't take long for someone to buy or rent it. So now June 28th, Mike, that's you, is going to pay the rent. So it'll be paid for next month. Okay, thank you. On June 29th, you say, hey, they accepted the offer.
Yeah.
We were going to give 30-day notice, but as far as I know, this wasn't terminated by me. It was terminated by the owners when they sold it. So
I
they're
don't
the ones
know.
who
I almost
terminated
think
the
it was
lease.
terminated by you too. I mean, when you tell them in June, we got approved for the house.
But the house sold, so, hey, everybody wins. It's all good,
Yeah. Oh, goodness. Do we have to pay August rent?
Yeah.
No. The owner said that you won't have to pay August rent, but the deposit will be forfeited because of early termination on the lease. Oh, okay, your wife says. I thought as long as someone was in before, it was time for us to pay rent again, and the house was like it was before, then we would get our deposit back. I know the lease was broken, but it worked out perfect for them. They were able to sell it. I'll talk to them about it. I'm ready to roll. Anything further?
No, ma'am.
Anything further from you? All right. I think it's a tad close, but I don't feel any doubt about what I'm deciding. And I'm deciding that the security deposit goes back to him. I think that the tenor of the conversations between everybody is that, you know what, go ahead and look for another place because we're going to sell it, which implies that we don't need you here anymore if we're going to sell it, even if that turned out to not be the case. The language between the two parties was not put your notice in writing like the thing requires in order to kick off the 30 days. She asked before she even starts looking, am I going to be able to break the lease? It doesn't sound like, yeah, but there'll be penalties. It sounds like, yeah, no worries. So I'm not going to give them a worry. You don't get the portion of your unused rent just because you moved out early in July. You don't get lost wages. But you do get that $1,200 and your court costs in order to get those $1,200. Verdict for the plaintiff.
Thank you.
So in a really interesting case, the plaintiff prevails. He's going to get his security back, $1,200 back. Did you agree this was kind of close?
Yes.
How do you feel about what the judge decided?
I think it's okay.
You're okay with it?
Yeah.
You were so nice. That may have hurt the case,
Maybe so.
Maybe it shouldn't be so nice in the future. Okay. Good luck to you. Thank you very
thank
much.
you.
All righty. Mr. Miller, congratulations. Feel better?
Good.
Yeah, okay. You were worried, weren't you?
No,
Not at all?
not really. I mean, I knew the evidence was on my side. We did what we were supposed to do. We held our part of the lease, and I just should have done the right thing and just gave it back to us.
Okay, good enough. You happy where you are now?
Absolutely.
Good enough. Good. Congratulations.
Thank you.
You're on your way. Harvey?
Here's the thing. The key to this is reliance, and the plaintiff relied on the defendant's word, so that's why the plaintiff won.